Hi, everybody, and welcome to Observing with Webb, where a high school astronomy teacher tells you what you're looking at, why it's so cool, and what you should check out later this month at night. Don't forget to check out my Podbean page, mrwebb.podbean.com. Also, my YouTube channel, you're on right now, and Twitter feed as well. You can get the podcast on Stitcher and iTunes, and I'm currently looking for some new ideas on how to format this thing. So if you have any thoughts, by all means, send them my way. If you are looking for Venus or Jupiter or Saturn or Mars, this is your last good month to really see them all at the same time. Also, you can get ready for some longer nights and the astronomical start of fall. We're also going to take a shallow dive into Sagittarius, the summer triangle, and Cassiopeia at the end of the video. But for starters, let's go with the naked eye planets that we can see. All right, as you can see up here, I have us at September 3rd, right about sunset, which is a little bit past 7:30, and right away you can see that there are 4 planets that we can see at sunset. So you've got Venus, Jupiter, Saturn, and Mars all up there. So how can you see them? What's the deal with them? Okay, well, since Venus is off in the west, that's the first one it's going to set. Let's talk about that first. It enters its final phase of its 6-month or so long appearance, and it's basically really bright off in the west. It's really all you got to look for. In fact, if I change perspective, zoom in, you're just looking west-southwest. It's going to be this bright dot up there, first thing you're going to see. And if you're able to get a set of binoculars or a nice telescope, you will be able to find Venus going into its crescent phase. As I go through the month, you'll notice that Venus keeps getting bigger and bigger and more, and more like a crescent by the end of the month. And then it kind of gets to the point where we can't see it. So check out Venus. It's your last real month to check it out in the evening. It's beautiful. And take your binoculars, find that crescent phase of it. Also, you have Jupiter up there. Now, it's in the southwest right around sunset, as you can see up there. And it is hanging out in Libra right there. And it sets right at about 9 p.m. So if you want to get out there a little bit later, Jupiter and Venus will still be up when it gets dark. And it sets again around 9 p.m. So let's zoom back out. There's Libra. Oh, there's Scorpius looking good there. And oh, hey, look, there's Sagittarius and there is Saturn. Saturn is already up at sunset and it's about 25 degrees above the horizon over in the south after sunset. And it's hanging out right above that teapot of Sagittarius. The rings of Saturn are pointed at us pretty much as they're going to. Let's see. That's right at about telescope view right there. There is Saturn. Let's go in a little bit further just to take a really good look if you have, good astrophotography skills. But yeah, Saturn is looking beautiful out there. Now, Saturn's up there, but also next to that is Mars over on the left side of Sagittarius. Now, I'm not even going to zoom into Mars because it's not really worth it. Mars is already up in the south-southeast. It's left of Sagittarius, and it's moving toward the southwest. And it'll set around 2 a.m. So if we follow through the night, it's about 8:30. Let's go forward a little bit. Saturn and Mars are going to move across the sky. And eventually, let me turn my head a little bit. There we go. Now we're facing southwest. Saturn will set around midnight and Mars around 2 a.m. And those are the 4 planets you can see right around sunset. Now you notice I missed a visible planet, and that's Mercury. Why did I not do anything with Mercury? Well, you have to get out the first week of September, which this pretty much is, and you have to get out and look west. So you're looking in the opposite, look east in the opposite direction. And you have to wait until about, here we go. There it is, about 5:30 in the morning. After 5:30 in the morning, you might catch it. It's kind of hard because really, it's good. The sun is going to be too bright by about 6 in the morning, but you will be able to see Mercury there. So to review, we've got Mercury for that first week of September, and around sunset, we have Mars, Saturn, Jupiter, and Venus all up in the sunset sky for September.
And a bunch of other stuff. And a bunch of other stuff. And a bunch of other stuff.
So the other stuff we got going on, we have some close encounters with the moon and the planets, and since they're all pretty much visible, you can see all of these. So we've got Venus and the moon catching up with each other on the 12th. You see that you'll need a clear view of the horizon, and you'll be able to see toward the west Venus and the moon very crescent and about 10 degrees above Venus. Then you notice that on the 13th, the moon's now moved over a bit over to Jupiter. Jupiter will be about 5 degrees below and to the left of the moon, with the dimmer stars Zubenognubi right below it and directly below the moon, making a nice little triangle over there in the sky. Looking nice. And then you got to wait a couple more days to see the Saturn, moon. There's just a big cluster here. You've got Venus setting off here in the west. Then you've got Jupiter on the 15th, still there. The moon is right in between Jupiter and Saturn, and you've got bright Antares right below the moon. It's just a neat little thing that's out there where they all kind of line up, which is pretty nice. And then on the next night, the 16th is the first quarter moon. The right half is lit up. And the 17th is the moon and Saturn getting as close as they will for this month. Just look after sunset, find the moon. Saturn's 4 degrees to the right. Really good chance to see two beautiful things in the night sky. And, we forgot Mars is over here. So about 2 days later, on the 19th, is when the moon will get as close as it can to Mars. And that'll be about 3 finger widths below the moon. Then nothing really happens until the 22nd, which is the fall equinox. It's when basically all locations on Earth experience almost exactly 12 hours of daylight and 12 hours of nighttime. Now, it is the astronomical first day of fall, which means we're getting even heating throughout the entire globe. But meteorologically, it starts typically in the beginning of September. This should be exactly the middle of fall, but there's a delay with the weather and how all the energy gets pushed around through the atmosphere and the oceans. Then the last bit is on the 24th, is when we have the full moon. That's your worst night for looking at deep sky objects, but it'll be fine for looking at the planets. And very beautiful full moon. You should be able to catch it right on the horizon. Get a very cool orangish moon with your pictures.
Are there patterns in our skies? Are patterns only in our eyes?
What about some constellations? I just want to go over a few, and I want to divide it between after dinner and before work, if you go to work in the morning like I do. But anyway, after dinner, if you look out, this is a great time to check out Sagittarius. This is the last good time to check out Sagittarius. But if you look out there, if you can find the teapot asterism, there it is, the teapot asterism in Sagittarius, right? Sagittarius is actually all of that constellation, but just look at the teapot. It's easier to find. But the cool thing here is that you can also find lots of Messier objects. What are Messier objects? They're the objects that a guy named Messier, back in the day, well, he was looking for comets, but comets move, and these things look like comets, but they don't move, and so they were disappointments. But they are really cool because they're easy to find for any amateur astronomer, and there are some really cool ones right around Sagittarius. One good one, if you have a nice telescope, you can catch the Lagoon Nebula or the Trifid Nebula. There's a cluster of stars over here called M22, the Sagittarius cluster. There is a nice big cluster up here. There's the Omega Nebula, which is a little dimmer up here as well. And all kinds of really neat things in that area. All you need is a pair of binoculars, and you can see some of these things if your sky is dark enough. So get away from that light pollution. But that's Sagittarius. The other thing is I don't know, I like to go out on my back deck and just take a look up. What do I see if I look pretty much straight up from my back deck from about 9 p.m. on a September night? Well, I'm going to be able to find the summer triangle up there. Okay. Now, what is the summer triangle? The summer triangle is this triangle. It's an asterism, not an actual constellation. but it's an asterism with the three brightest stars in the summer sky. Cygnus the Swan here, okay, this little cross-shaped thing up here, that's the tail of Cygnus the Swan. That's the bright star Deneb. And then down here you have the bright parallelogram Lyra, which is actually Lyra the Harp, and it has the brightest star Vega right here. And then you've got Aquila the Eagle, which does not look like an eagle at all, and it's got Altair down at the bottom there, or depending on how you look, top left. But if you're just on your deck and you see three bright stars all in a big triangle up there, then you are looking at the summer triangle. It's most likely what you are seeing if you just sit back and look straight up. But let's say you're going out before work and you want to check something out. Here's my suggestion. Go ahead and look north. So swing around, look toward the north, basically turn right if you're looking where the sun sets. And let's say you get up around 4 or 5 in the morning, Cassiopeia is going to be way up there in the north. And it's going to look like an M or a W, upside down W, depends on your perspective. But you see this nice almost right angle here, and you see an obtuse angle here, and it's just a really beautiful constellation in the night sky. One of the easiest ones to find. And if you have binoculars and you feel like looking, there's a beautiful M103 here, which is just really neat to see. You probably won't see that color, but it will be up there. That is pretty much it for the month of September. I really hope you can get out there and check out all of the planets. It's a good week or good month to get your imaging done. And yeah, have very clear dark skies for the month of September.